What's going on, guys? Let's dive into some rapid fire crypto news. So first up, I saw this shared by Eric Balchunas, and this is the senior ETF analyst over at Bloomberg, and this is the same guy that expects us to see spot ETFs go live for Solana, XRP, Litecoin, and HBAR. So this will be the world's first spot Solana ETFs to launch in Canada. They got the green light from the OSC, the regulator, which stands for the Ontario Securities Commission, and we have the issuers below. So this was posted yesterday, and the expected launch date is April 16th, which is tomorrow, so we'll see if they actually go live tomorrow, but either way, this is coming soon. Alright, next up, we have a really good clip shared by Crypto Eddie. So we have the managing director, Cassie Craddock, over at Ripple at the Paris Blockchain Week, confirming a Euro stablecoin on the XRPL. I'm going to play this full clip. It's 3 minutes 54 seconds for context. If you don't care to watch it or you've already seen it, please fast forward.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Craddock, Managing Director for the UK and Europe at Ripple. I've been at Ripple for 8 years now, so it's been quite the journey from, convincing banks to partner on a network to send cross-border payments, right through to being able to provide banks and financial institutions end-to-end digital asset infrastructure through payments, through custody, through stablecoin, and through tokenization use cases that we're going to talk about today. I think what's really been interesting from a Ripple perspective, I'm responsible for Europe, and I think what we've seen over the last year, 18 months, 2 years or so is MiCA has really given banks and financial institutions this level of certainty to be able to lean into the blockchain and digital asset space. And so we've seen some really great innovative use cases on the back of that. So, we partnered with SocGen Forge, one of the leading banks here in France, firstly around custody, but now more broadly on issuing their Euro CV stablecoin on XRP Ledger. There are many other use cases that we're partnering, our customers are partnering with us on around money market funds and bringing those on chain. And we're actually seeing that trend continue to increase as we start to see more institutional interest in this space. On the Ripple side, we're solving kind of the trap liquidity issue with our cross-border payment product and enabling financial institutions to better service their customers by enabling them to have instant real-time payments through a kind of network of partners that enables to move cash from A to B. Now that could be physical cash, it could be stablecoins, it could be using XRP, and I think that's a really interesting, use case that we've seen mass adoption over the years from. And then just generally speaking, I think from our perspective, solving that cross-border payment problem was a first step. Doing that and building the infrastructure to be able to do that in a sophisticated way for banks and financial institutions just led us down the path of owning that kind of end-to-end digital asset infrastructure. And so the custody technology was really critical for us to acquire back in 2023 because we know that custody is the entry point. Before you do anything in digital asset, whether you're thinking about tokenization, whether you're thinking about payments or thinking about NFTs or whatever you're thinking about, you need to get your custody right and you need bank-grade custody. And so that critical piece of infrastructure is something that's now enabling us to partner with banks and financial institutions for them to tokenize, for them to create use cases that maybe we don't want to lean into, but to be able to use our technology to do that. I think it's really important, and Adelia and I, we work, given that we're the largest developer on the XRP Ledger, Ripple wants to solve institutional financial use cases, right? But we want to create ecosystems where developers are pushing the boundaries. And I think that's been really interesting to see how these developers or these financial institutions leverage our technology to be able to, I guess, drive the future of financial services forward. User experience. Good user experience means that these, banks and financial institutions or consumers of these products, they need really good infrastructure to be able to power it. They need the right custodians, they need the right wallet, they need the right compliance tools to be able to really kind of power this on a truly global scale. And I think, there are early signs and indications that, both of these are in place, but I think we have we do have quite the journey to go in order to be able to really truly create this on a global scale.
So that's very interesting, and big thank you to Crypto Eddie. I almost went through a tweet of somebody just copying this exactly, and I believe that Crypto Eddie was the original person to share this. I can't keep track, so I usually just try to share the information as long as I can see the valid sources. I'll go over it. So my bad if I ever share a tweet or information from somebody that is copying another creator verbatim. I don't understand why people do that, but hey. Now, one of the really important things that Cassie says in this clip and Crypto Eddie points out is bank-grade custody was critical since it's the entry point to an end-to-end solution. So custody enables liquidity, tokenization, etc. So basically, to summarize, Ripple the company announced at Paris Blockchain Week that they partnered with SocGen to issue a Euro CV stablecoin on the XRPL. And full credit to Crypto Eddie for sharing this down below, and then we have right here, Ripple initially partnered with SocGen Forge to develop digital asset custody infrastructure. So this partnership includes the issuance of a regulated stablecoin. So custody is important, bank-grade custody is even more important for institutional use cases, and this can allow or open up the doors to additional use cases and utility for tokenization and payments. And this new infrastructure aims to serve banks, asset managers, and fintechs in Europe. And overall, there seems to be a lot going on, especially with one of the biggest acquisitions made by the company Ripple for Hidden Road, which is a prime broker, a multi-asset prime broker that operates globally. So just thinking about everything that's going on, we have a variety of ETF issuers, many of which are spot XRP ETFs. We have the new Euro XRPL stablecoin, and then we have this Hidden Road news, or this acquisition. So the goal is making the Ripple US dollar, or using it to enable efficient cross-margining between digital assets and traditional markets, along with right here migrating post-trade activity across the XRPL. So obviously, when you consider Ripple custody and everything else they're working on, I think we're already confident on the fundamentals of XRP and the company Ripple. What I want to see is the crash of Bitcoin dominance to be confident in the trend of the XRP price chart. All I believe looking at history is when Bitcoin dominance finds its top and crashes back to the lows as Bitcoin is making higher highs than alts rip and they go parabolic. So Bitcoin dominance goes down as the Bitcoin US dollar price chart is going up, and that led to the last two alt seasons, and I believe we get another. The question is when. And I've shared this many times before, but just for reference, looking at the exact dates, we can see, and I'll go down to the weekly just so we can hopefully get pretty close to exact dates. So we have March 6th, 2017 up until January 15th of 2018. So that was the 2017 alt season. Now we have 2021 for last cycle. December 28th, 2020 was the top, and the bottom was May 10th of 2021. So we have yet to see another crash, and now we're going to look at the XRP price chart. Looking at those exact dates, this was the XRP price chart's performance during the last two alt seasons. So 2017 obviously went parabolic, being half a penny, and then right here during last cycle, after the lawsuit, we crashed to 17.5 cents and then got up almost to $2. The point being is that this was clearly the period when XRP's price saw the highest period of ROI, which was during the last two alt seasons. So that's why we're looking for another alt season, and we need to see the crash of Bitcoin dominance in the future. So what do we do in the meantime with all the geopolitics? We have the tariffs, we have retaliatory tariffs, and then even in the beginning of this month, the S&P 500 lost about $5 trillion. So right now, equities and crypto are correlated. And one of the only assets out there that is actually getting the memo and pumping with global liquidity, which is this yellow line, so global M2, is gold, also at new all-time highs with M2. And just looking at the trend of global M2 with the Bitcoin price chart, this potential still exists. So basically, to summarize, what I believe is the most important for altcoins to get their dominance back is to see Bitcoin dominance find its top, hopefully sooner than later, and then crash as Bitcoin is going up. That will give us the dominance back in the altcoin market for very big recoveries. Until then, we are ranging if Bitcoin dominance climbs higher. As Bitcoin pulls back, alts go lower, so it's a waiting game. I also highly recommend you guys check out this report from Ripple and BCG. So this was dated last week, and we can see right here, you can download the report on ripple.com. And here we can see the estimated growth in tokenization through 2033. So the conservative scenario is 12.5 trillion. The optimistic scenario is 23.4. So be sure to check this out, and remember that Cassie, the managing director over Ripple, said that bank-grade custody is the entry point. We also have a major Ethereum upgrade called the Pectra upgrade, and the launch date is set to be right around May 7th. So feel free to check this out. The Pectra upgrade includes 11 major code changes, so even more than the last Denkun upgrade. And per usual, we have iTrustCapital linked right in the top of the YouTube video description. They offer over 70 plus cryptocurrencies and precious metals. I've had a Roth IRA with them since 2020, a big fan, hands down one of the best retirement platforms in the United States. So feel free to check them out. If you guys are new, there are no monthly fees whatsoever, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button and let me know your thoughts down below. You can find all links to my crypto resources, including tools for charting, trading bots, wallets, portfolio trackers, and exclusive discounts right in my link tree in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.